I now give the floor to the representative of Israel.
Mr. President, today this Council stood at a crossroads, and most of you chose wrong. You chose appeasement and submission. You chose a road that does not lead to peace, only to more terror. We thank the United States for standing on the right side, for standing on the side of truth, justice, and moral clarity. Thank you for refusing to abandon the hostages and for refusing to legitimize the lies of this resolution. Thank you for showing the bravery to say what so many seem too afraid to say, that Hamas is the obstacle to peace, and that spoiling terrorists only deepens the crisis. Colleagues, there is a real framework already on the table. It is a US-backed proposal constructed with Egypt and Qatar. Israel has accepted multiple versions of that proposal. We have accepted compromise after compromise. We have said yes repeatedly because we are prepared to do whatever we can to bring our hostages back home. Hamas has rejected every single version of that proposal, every deal, every offer, every opportunity. They have responded with silence or with new impossible demands. They have shown the world time and again that they are not interested in reaching an agreement. They are only interested in surviving and delaying a deal for as long as possible. So why does this resolution say nothing about that? I listened to all of you. You know, only a few of you actually mention a condemnation for Hamas. The rest, you forgot about that. Instead of confronting the truth, some on this council attempted to bury it. Instead of applying pressure where it belongs, on Hamas, you have applied it on the country actively working to bring its people back home. That is not diplomacy. That is surrender. And it sends a clear message to Hamas. Reject every deal, and the international community will still reward you. Hold innocent civilians hostage, and the UN will still give you legitimacy. Continue the war, and the pressure will still fall only on Israel, not on the terrorists who started this war. You know that Hamas does not care about the resolutions, what's happening here. They don't care about innocent lives, international law, or about UN resolutions. But when you removed the release of the hostages as a condition for a ceasefire, and I know all of you very well, you know how to read a resolution, you know the power of the language of a resolution, but when you removed the release of the hostages as a condition for a ceasefire, you gave Hamas the freedom to ignore you all and to place every bit of pressure on Israel. You handed them time, leverage, and political cover. You have told the hostage families that their loved ones are no longer a priority. Mr. President, the hostages are innocent civilians kidnapped from their homes and held in the dark tunnels of Gaza. Many have been brutally murdered. They have not seen sunlight. They have not spoken to their families. They are being denied every basic human dignity. The Palestinian prisoners are terrorists who are protected by our legal system. Many of them are murderers with blood on their hands. They are held in accordance with the law, with access to rights, food, and medical care. Now, because Israel agrees to exchanges, it doesn't mean we accept a false equivalency. It was because we place unlimited value on every life, while Hamas only values death. And I heard some of you who made that comparison, to suggest that these two groups are morally equal, as this resolution seemed to. And you read the resolution again, you know the meaning of words. Putting the hostages together with the terrorists, it is not just dishonest, it is evil, it is immoral. Despite this absurd equivalence, the text still found time to lecture Israel on humanitarian aid. However, this resolution was proposed after humanitarian aid had already resumed. The new international aid mechanism developed with the US and in coordination with Israel has already become operational. That mechanism is delivering aid, but most critically, it is doing what the old system could not, stopping Hamas from stealing it. Over the past weeks, thousands of tons of aid have been distributed under the new mechanism. Alongside the new mechanism, hundreds of trucks have also been entering Gaza, carrying supplies coordinated by Israel and international partners. So I ask again, what is this council doing by proposing this resolution now? You know, when we had the closure, I understood Slovenia, you wanted to stop it, but right after we opened the gates of Gaza, right after the new mechanism in action, now is the time to bring the resolution? This resolution doesn't advance humanitarian relief. It undermines it. It ignores a working system in favor of political agendas. It ignores the one party still endangering civilians in Gaza, Hamas, the group that hijacks trucks and stockpiles the aid to their benefit. If you really care about the people of Gaza, then stop protecting those who started this war and continue to prolong it. If you care about aid, then help ensure it reaches civilians and not terrorists. If you care about progress, then start telling the truth. Mr. President, Madam President, this resolution is not a step forward. It ignores the reality on the ground. It disregards the negotiations that are already underway. It betrays the very people it claims to protect. Israel will continue to fight for the return of our hostages. We will continue to protect our citizens. We will continue to cooperate with our partners to deliver aid to civilians. Israel will not stop. We will not rest. We will not abandon our people. We have proven time and again that military pressure works. Hostages come home not because Hamas decides to be merciful all of a sudden, but because they are forced to. And we will do whatever it takes to bring them back. You have dedicated all of your energy and efforts in drafting this resolution, negotiating on it, putting it to a vote. Now it will pass next week to the General Assembly for another vote. But colleagues, I must be very honest with you. Don't waste more of your energy. Don't waste more of your time, because no resolution, no vote, no moral failure will stand in our way. We will bring them home, all of them.
Resolution to the vote now. Will those in favor of the draft resolution contained in document S 2025/353 please raise their hand? Those against? Abstentions? The result of the voting is as follows: 14 votes in favor, 1 vote against, 0 abstention. The draft resolution has not been adopted owing to the negative vote of a permanent member of the Council.
The United States will never stop working to free all the hostages, including the remains of 4 Americans murdered by Hamas, who have now been held in squalid conditions for 607 days. They will not be left behind. Colleagues, the U.S. opposition to this resolution should come as no surprise. It is unacceptable for what it does say. It is unacceptable for what it does not say. And it is unacceptable for the manner in which it has been advanced. The United States has been clear. We would not support any measure that fails to condemn Hamas and does not call for Hamas to disarm and leave Gaza. In recent months, Hamas has rejected numerous ceasefire proposals, including one over the weekend, that would provide a pathway to end this conflict and release the remaining 58 hostages. We cannot allow the Security Council to reward Hamas's intransigence. After all, it was Hamas who started this brutal conflict on October 7th, 2023, when Hamas perpetrated the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. Hamas has sustained it ever since in a manner that threatens Israel's security and prolongs Palestinian anguish. It is Hamas that continues to threaten Israelis and puts Palestinian civilians in Gaza in harm's way every day, using them as human shields. They have brutally suppressed those brave enough to challenge its despotic rule. It is inexplicable that many members of this council still refuse to acknowledge that Hamas could end this conflict tomorrow by surrendering and laying down its arms. It is unconscionable that the UN still has not labeled and sanctioned Hamas as a terrorist organization. In addition to refusing once again to condemn Hamas for the cowardly and evil acts that set this brutal conflict into motion, this resolution contains other serious defects. The United States has taken the very clear position since this conflict began that Israel has a right to defend itself, which includes defeating Hamas and ensuring they are never again in a position to threaten Israel. In this regard, any product that undermines our close ally Israel's security is a non-starter. This resolution would undermine diplomatic efforts to reach a ceasefire that reflects the realities on the ground and emboldens Hamas. This resolution also draws false equivalence between Israel and Hamas, which is both wrong and dangerous. This resolution seeks an, and I quote, immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire, close quote, that would leave Hamas in a position to carry out future October 7th attacks, as it has promised. This resolution refuses to acknowledge the disastrous shortcomings of the prior method of aid delivery, which allowed Hamas to enrich itself at the expense of Palestinians and failed to get food and water to those who needed it most. No one wants to see Palestinian civilians in Gaza go hungry or thirsty. We instead urge the UN and NGOs to support the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation to help it safely deliver aid without being diverted by Hamas. The GHF has emphasized it will deliver aid consistent with the humanitarian principles of humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and independence. Colleagues, we've been clear that in order to move forward, Hamas and other terrorists must have no future in Gaza. As Secretary Rubio has said, if an ember survives, it will spark again into a fire. This council should use its power to pressure Hamas to accept the proposal on the table. Only after the terror group's removal can Israel be secure within its own borders, and can Gaza advance toward a brighter and more prosperous future. The United States has worked tirelessly with Egypt and Qatar to bring an end to this horrific conflict, friends murdered by Hamas, who have now been held in squalid conditions for 607 days. They will not be left behind. Thank you.
The draft resolution has not been adopted owing to the negative vote of a permanent member of the Council.